I would say one of the things that pops in my head, probably the first thing that pops in my head whenever somebody asks me that question is, I have so many great memories. I have 3 little boys who are my loves. I've had a wedding. I have tons of family around me. I have a lot of really wonderful memories, but there's a memory that really has changed a lot of my life and how it's gone. And I was 7 years old, and I was living in Kona, and we were living in an area that was kind of like apartments. And I remember at that age running all over the place, like hammering my toes on the lava rocks because my slippers kept folding backwards, and I would like bloody toes and everywhere. And you know, I was like climbing trees, and I was doing a lot of the things that you did when you were here at that age. And I remember getting a half of a grapefruit from someone, and I was like, oh, that grapefruit's really bitter. And she's like, oh, just put a little bit of sugar on it. It was one of my neighbors, and I don't remember their face, but I remember this happening. She put a little sugar on it, and I ate the grapefruit, and I skipped along, and I went along my way, and I had taken my shoes off because I was tired of stubbing my toes and my slippers getting stuck on the rocks. So I just went along my way, and my grapefruit got bitter again. And I'm like, oh. So I went to another neighbor and knocked on the door, and I said, oh, can I have a little bit of sugar for my grapefruit? And they're like, sure. So I put a little, I did that till I was done. I think I maybe stopped 2 or 3 times. But I just remember feeling so free and so cared about. And I remember the smells around me, which in Kona are a lot of plumerias. And it was a wonderful feeling for me. So I remember saying to myself, don't ever forget this day, because this is one of the best days of your life. And it really, really was something so simple. But later on in my life, I wish so badly for my children to have the same experiences. And so now we're back here, and we live in Kohala, and my kids are free, and they don't have as much social pressure as they would on the mainland.
They left the hose on.
It's okay. Well, you know, that's what they do. We'll have the guys turn it off. But yeah, so that's one of my greatest. I would say that drawing was kind of my biggest hobby at that time. Art. About my parents. My parents got divorced when I was, they split when I was about 4 or 5 years old. And a lot of times when parents split up, the children go with their mother, and that's what happened to me.
What, with your mama?
Mm-hmm. But I really wanted to be with my dad too. So through the years, as I got older, especially like in middle school, I didn't want to go to my dad's anymore. I wanted to like hang out with my friends. I wanted to be at home with my mom. I just didn't feel comfortable. I wasn't that happy. And so the challenge for me was later on in life, not communicating well with my own dad. But how I overcame that was saying, okay, if my dad's not going to call me, then I'm going to be the best daughter that I can be. And I'm going to call my dad. I'm going to call him on my birthday. I'm going to call him on the holidays. I'm going to call him in between the holidays. I'm going to call him just because I want to say hi, so that I can try to be a good example to my own dad. And that's how I think that I overcame that challenge. Okay, so I got my first job. I think the soonest you can get a job is, I think, like 15, at least where I was, which was San Francisco. That's where I was when I was in middle school. And it's kind of a funny story because I had just got my driver's permit. And when you have your driver's permit, you have to drive with somebody that's 25 or older. In the passenger seat. Well, the person that I was driving with was my same age, who only had a permit also. So we were driving like, yeah, we're so cool. We're doing something naughty. And I mean, we were fine, but the rules are the rules. So I ended up getting pulled over. And normally, when you get pulled over for something like that, they take away your permit and you can't get your license for an entire year. Well, the police officer was really nice because we
Good
were
thing.
really respectful, and he said, okay. Oh no, actually the kid that I was driving with already had his license because he was a year older than me. So he had his license, but he was only 16 and I was 15. So he's like, I'm gonna give you a fix-it ticket.
Let it slide.
So I'll give you a ticket. I'm not gonna take away your license, but you know, you gotta like pay this fine and blah blah blah. So he's like, I'll let you switch places. He can get in the car and drive, but don't do it again. So I ended up going home, and I told my mom and my stepdad about it, or my dad. I call him my dad, and they're like, okay, well, it's a $325 ticket, and we're not gonna pay it for you. And this is how long you have before it's due. So you better get a job. So I got a worker's permit from school. And I went and got my first job at the mall, and it was a store called Mr. Rags, and I was getting paid $5.25 an hour, which was minimum wage way back then in the olden days, which is not that long ago. But yeah, I was getting paid that much, and so that was my first job. And it wasn't that I wanted to get a job, but my parents were like, you know, you have to be responsible for your actions. You need to pay this bill. And you need to go get a job to do it. And I would have to take the bus. I would like have to beg for rides, but I did it. Yeah. Okay. What was it?
What? Wait.
Favorite age. Okay,
Yes.
30. So I think that I had a lot of favorite ages, but I think 30, like I said.
30?
I think so, because you kind of like figure out, you know.
Who you are.
I think that I'm still figuring that out, but 30 is a good age because you're like, okay, well,
I know.
I got to stop being kind of irresponsible and like make sure I got all my ducks in order, because, you know, you kind of have to take care of yourself for the rest of your life, and just trying to make the best decisions possible. You know, not caring like what people think about you, not putting so much pressure on yourself, just trying to enjoy your life.
I feel like my Auntie Morgan's a very strong person emotionally, and because she's been through a lot in her childhood, a lot more than I have, and I'm still a child though. I'm 11, but I feel like some other people would really get to know her, because they could reflect upon themselves. Truly being emotionally strong, and really believing in yourself that you could do a lot of things. Auntie Morgan has a lot of awesome stories that I didn't know before, and I just learned, and I really appreciate that. And I love her and her family, and how all my cousins, I have 3 of them from her, and I have 4 of them from my other auntie, and